Whew! I told you guys after those Hourglass palettes hit, it is a chain reaction from there. I mean, in today's video, I'm covering Vanngo Beauty, but on my mind, there's also Natasha Denona. The Sephora Favorites kits are available. There's so much happening, but let's focus on the now for today, because Vanngo's beauty brand just launched, and I'm really very, very excited about this. I've followed Vanngo for years. Most notably, he's the go-to for Selena Gomez's makeup artist, but he does so many well-known celebrities, and I always thought his looks were so beautiful, so glam, but I always connected with his work. So when I saw he was launching Vanngo Beauty, I was super excited. I knew I was going to pick up what I could from the brand, but then I actually ended up getting it in PR, which is so exciting. I'm so grateful, and congratulations to on this beautiful line. Some of this stuff I have played with, some of this stuff is a first impression. I will let you guys know today because it's a big launch, it's a big drop, it's a whole real makeup line. So it is available right now on Sephora and also on his website as well. There's a few exclusive shades for specific products on his own website, but you can pick up the majority. I have all of the details here in front of me, as well as I'll be looking at Sephora. But the brand has how many different products? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 different products, all of which with a very large, I would say for a first time launch, a pretty large shade availability. I mean, it's quite impressive. So let's get into it. All of the packaging is in this beautiful, almost like red orange kind of color. So all of it's very sleek, very clean looking. I mean, can you see what I have in my hands right now? One of the most exciting parts of this launch, I said in the TikTok I made, 2016 is coming back because we have 8 different eyeshadow palettes. I miss the days. Obviously, I won't be able to try all 8 today. This is going to be something that's going to be needed updated, but I did swatch all of them, of course. But the lipsticks, blush, bronzers, eyeliners, they're all in that red color. Let's get into it, shall we? So quickly, let's go over what's included in the line in the products. He has, for the face, a soft focus blurring matte powder bronzer available in 6 different shades. A very beautiful matte velvet blush, also available in 6 shades, 3 warm, 3 cool, he said. And then for the eyes, very large eye range. We have the Color Story eyeshadow palettes. 8 different color stories available. They're all monochromatic. We have the Longwear Precision Gel Eyeliners in, I believe, 10 different colors. There's more colors online, but 8 at Sephora. And then there also is a different eyeliner called the Soft Velvet Creamy Kohl Liners, available in 3 shades, which those are not going to be long wear, but they're going to be blendable. And then for lips, there's the Accentuating Longwear Lip Liner in 9 shades. And then the Creamy Matte Longwear Lipstick with Hyaluronic Acid, available in 18 shades, 14 of which are on Sephora. On his YouTube channel has a really great informative video about all of the shades, what colors look good on which skin tones, all of the formulas, the meaning behind each of the names of the products. So definitely check that out if you're more curious about, from his perspective, the products and why he did what he did and what he came out with. We're gonna start off with the bronzer and blush first to get us started. And you guys, I have used this bronzer before. I'm really excited to talk about it. So the Soft Focus Blurring Matte Bronzer, these are $38 each, so it is more on the pricey side. These are made in Italy, so that's always a good sign. Now, of the 6 shades, I have the shade Straightforward. This is what was sent to me. This is the only shade that I have, and honestly, when I looked at it for the first time, I was a little intimidated by this. Now, they say that this is a blurring powder bronzer to warm skin tone with a dimensional soft focus finish. Straightforward is the shade recommended for light skin tones. Okay, I'm really excited to show you this. Let me start off with the swatch. So I thought this has potential to be muddy, but look at this. Do you see that blend? just soaks right into the skin. I'm going to use this Makeup Forever brush that I have. So the first time I used this, I was shocked because it does just blur and blend onto the skin effortlessly. And it is buildable, but I was so impressed because I'm like, I don't look muddy like I thought I was going to. And it really does blur over the skin. So it is with less pigment, but like I said, it is buildable and it has that soft focus application on the face. Really effortless, really soft. I haven't used everything in this line yet, but from what I've used, this is the product upon first application, first impression, that I was like, wow. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with a bronzer that has a little bit of extra pigment to it. There is merit to a product like that as well. But I really enjoy how effortless this is to apply. And I think for the everyday person, this is so easy. It pretty much looks blended upon application by itself with very minimal effort. So for the average consumer, the average everyday woman just getting ready in the morning, I'm blown away by this formula. That being said, there are occasions where, yeah, maybe some more punch right away with a bronzer would be better. But for the most part, the number one word I would use to describe this is completely effortless. And I do agree. It's super duper lightweight. It's super blurring. And for a bronzer, I love this. I feel like it's quite unique. I don't have a lot of bronzers that apply quite like this. It just rolls onto the skin. Super soft focus. I just dug my nail into it though. No, just only at the corner, thank goodness. But anyways, so far from what I've tried, this to me is a must have from the range. And I'm not just saying that because they sent it to me. You guys know I was gonna, if I want it, I buy it myself. But this is the product that instantly wowed me completely. And it's a beautiful formula to put over to set cream bronzers, which are really in right now because it's so lightweight. It's not going to get patchy or stuck on the skin either when you have that creamy base down. Okay, so we started off on a very good foot there. Let's move on to the very beautiful velvet blushes. Again, 6 shades. He said 3 were more warmer, 3 were more cooler. And these are cashmere inspired powder that melts into the skin with a blurring cloud matte finish. I haven't even tried this one yet, so this is first go. I got the shade Second Language, which is just a classic kind of rose pink shade. So let's see how we feel about this. Okay, so this I feel like has more pigment right away than the bronzer, but it has that like soft blend out. Let's see. Wiping off my brush. Do you get some kickback here with this? I'll switch my brush for the other cheek. We'll see if that changes application, but I really like using a brush that doesn't have a lot of density for this formula. But this color, very buildable in pigment for sure. This I think gives more punch than the bronzer did, which I think is great because that means it's going to work for a wider range of skin tone. Whereas, you know, with bronzer, you buy what is best for your skin tone, but blush, you want it to work across a wider range of skin tones. And this definitely has more punch to it. For review's sake, I'm switching over to this blinged brush, which is a little bit more dense and flat. See if that changes application at all. Not really. Yeah, but you can definitely build up pigment on this, or you can keep it nice and soft. Very soft focus, matte finish to it. It feels very lightweight. So this is also a very nice, easy to use formula. For me, the bronzer stands out a little bit more just right away, but I don't have anything bad to say about this blush. Now I'm going to skip over the eyes and we're going to do the lip section first because I was sent more bold shades and I don't want it to clash with whatever eyeshadow look I end up doing. So we're going to go for that editorial bare eye bold lips look. So I had a little bit of hydrator on. So this is the Accentuating Longwear Lip Liner. It's $24. There are 9 shades in the range. And it says a unique shade range that you can mix and match with your favorite lipstick to complement your lip shape. And he does have a lot of nude tones, which if I like this formula, I am definitely interested in checking out. But I was only sent one shade that's quite bold. This is the shade Vanngo Red, which is the shade that the packaging is based off of. So packaging of this on the back side here, it does have a sharpener, and you twist the top up to get the color up, and then you'll sharpen the tip. So let's see. I mean, they describe this as a vivid orange red. He also said in his video that it does have a little bit of blue in there to help make it more flattering on more skin tones. Pretty creamy application. It's not the creamiest, which is a good thing because that means it doesn't have too much slip. Okay, that's just going to be our outline because I do have the matching lipstick to go with it. I have the lip liner setting right now in the back of my hand, so we'll see how budge proof it really is. And they did send along in the package 2 of those creamy matte lipsticks that are not fully matte because he didn't want it to be too drying. These are $29 each. And I got sent some more bold colors, but there are some nude shades available in the range as well. I'm of course going to try the Vanngo Red. Making a mess, but it is very, very orange red. And it's not fully a matte lipstick, but it's not super shiny by any means. It gives like a more flat finish without it being like a powdery, dry matte finish. Very, very pigment packed upon just that quick application. And this is how that Vanngo Red shade looks. It's relatively comfortable. I like that it's not super shiny, but it's not a super suck the life out of you kind of matte, and a lot of pigment right away with this shade. So very, very bold, very out of my comfort zone, I'm not gonna lie, but super fun. Now on his website there are 18 different shades of this. I would say 4 of the more bold colors are on his website, and then the more neutral colors are available at Sephora. But this does go perfectly with the packaging, doesn't it? Does it not? It's like that signature color. And then they also sent me the shade Award Winner, which is this beautiful berry color, which is not something I would pick out in the store. But I don't know, I have a good feeling about this color. Let me try that one on next. By the way, I forgot to mention, the lip liner is made in Korea, and then the lipsticks are made in the US. So quickly, let's see if this has set. This is that Vanngo Red lip liner. It has, so it is a more long wear based formula, probably gel, because those are the ones that dry down for long wear. I threw on Makeup Forever Anywhere Caffeine because I just didn't have a lip liner that would go with this rich berry shade. Like I said, this shade is Award Winner. I'm looking forward to this as potentially fall lip color. Let's see. Gonna use my finger. I feel like this could almost stain the lips too if you applied even less of it. Give that like stained look, you know? Oh my goodness, I love this color. Now you see the lip liner formula, I would say it's pretty thin. While it's not drying, as somebody with naturally dry lips, it's not the most hydrating in the world, but I think it needs to be that way for longevity, especially I'm thinking with these deeper, brighter shades. The less creamier, the better, because it's actually going to last and not get all over the face. This is like the perfect winter lip, actually. That is gorgeous with like a nude eye. I really like this shade. I'm curious about some of the more nude shades. I might have to pick them up for the Sephora sale, maybe like 1 or 2 just to see, and then more of the neutral lip liners because that's a little bit more in my wheelhouse. I had a good feeling about this Award Winner shade. Okay, we're gonna have to see with the longevity of this. I'm gonna take this off though because I just know the eye look I'm about to do is gonna clash because there's so many options for these eyeshadows. So that's why I did these lips first, because they're bolder. But I might go a little bolder with eyeshadow today. As an eyeshadow addict, the fact that they came out with 8 different eyeshadows in this first drop, I was so stickin' excited. These are $49 each. Each palette's gonna have 8 shades, which I don't think is very bad. And these are all monochromatic palettes, which I think, coming from a makeup artist, it makes sense that it would be in this way. All very sleek, simple packaging for these as well. These are made in Italy, which is one of my favorite places for eyeshadows, I must admit. And these are an interesting formula. They're different than the old trendy eyeshadow formulas back in the day. So first, let me show you the color stories that we have, as well as the swatches that I did for it. First color story is New Neutral. This is the one that I've used before. And this is like got me written all over it. This is an ideal everyday eyeshadow palette for me. The next shade that we have is Composed Cool, which is really cool. It's like a grayscale palette, which you can create some intense smoky eyes with these. Well, with this one. Then we have the Wonderful Warm. So these 3 are going to be for the neutral family person. I'm also very into this Wonderful Warm shade. All of these color stories have a great range of depths and varying finishes that I think is going to make it very easy to create a look despite it being kind of one color story. The formulas and everything are so different in here. You have a lot of options given the one color family. Now, those were the 3 more neutral colors, the more wearable. Maybe not Composed Cool, but you know what I mean. There's also colorful palettes, which I think is so fun and quite risky to do in today's market with what's trending right now. But we have the Generous Green and Yellow palette, which mostly greens, and then you have some yellow popping into some of those satin shades there. Then we have Outstanding Orange, which this is screaming like 2018, where everybody loved super duper warm eyeshadow palettes. Passionate Purple, which some of these shades swatched weak. I'm not going to judge it too much by the swatches, but some swatched good, some swatched a little weak. We'll see. With bolder colors, definitely don't go by the swatches as much though. This one, Rebellious Red and Pink, I didn't love the way that this one swatched. It felt a little on the drier side, but again, when I get into the explanation of the formulas, it will make more sense. It's not necessarily a bad thing. This one is a little bit more neutral, I would say. And then we have the boldest one, the one I'm personally scared of, Brilliant Blue, which is very blue. But like I said, all of these color palettes I feel are thought out with the formulas that were put in them, the finishes, I should say, and then the depths of each shade. I definitely can see the intention that went behind the placement of all of these shades. The formula is interesting. I said it was different because what's been trendy over the last few years, especially couple years ago when eyeshadows were super duper big, was really creamy, very pigmented shades that could swatch all the way down your whole arm. These aren't like that. They're a little bit of a drier formula. They kind of remind me of the bronzer, at least with the new neutral ones that I've used, where I noticed the shades didn't have instant jam-packed pigment right away, but they were buildable, they were soft, which actually made it easier to apply to the eye. There are 4 different finishes in these palettes: a regular matte shade, a satin shade, which I appreciate because satins are super underutilized in looks, and I think they can make a big impact on the eye, and they're very flattering. Metallic shades, some of them pull a little bit glittery in the most beautiful way because they're gorgeous all over the eyelid. The shade New Neutral, like this shade all over the lid, is so stunning. And then there's this 3D Creamy Matte, which is a cream to powder kind of style formulation. Think Natasha Denona. You know how she had those creamy matte formulas where they don't have any fallout. You kind of need to build them up. They're better used as eyeliners. Vanngo kind of has his version of those, which I'm going to test out today to let you know I'm not an expert on these shadows. Like I said, I won't knock it, but I'm raising one eyebrow because I didn't love Natasha's version of those. So we definitely want to get into testing that. But generally speaking, from my experience with these aren't super creamy. Some of the mattes are creamier than others, but it's a drier formulation, and that doesn't mean anything bad. It's just, it's a little bit more sheer, a little bit easier to build up and blend out, making it much easier to use. And the formulas aren't super wet, which I find will make the eyeshadow last longer. These do have a 12-month shelf life. So it's just a different formula than what's been trending, but not a bad thing. There's value in a formula like this. So since I've already tested the neutrals, which was super duper easy to apply, brilliant eyelid shades, let's do, you know I have to do the purple because I need to at least try one of the bolder palettes. And purple is a good area for me to do that. Because to me, purple is a neutral. So let's do one eye off camera. I'll be back. So I just messed around with a lot of different shades from that purple palette. With this new neutral palette, I really felt like each shade had a place and a purpose, and everything was very different from one another. It served a different purpose. With this purple palette, I was a little bit more lost. Now, this formula is drier, which I think really worked with those neutral shades. I really liked it, but I think with this being such a vibrant color, it didn't work quite as well with these vibrant shades. And I also feel like this particular palette was missing a super deep dark eggplant that maybe you could play with for eyeliner. But let's just mess around so I can show you kind of what I'm talking about. So I'm starting off with this shade, which is kind of matte, but it does have some satiny reflex in there. And I'm just gonna put this in the crease. Like so. It's a little bit powdery, so you'll get some kickback. But that just will be a good blending base. And then I'm using this shade right here. These are all numbers. They don't have shade names. And I'm going to build this up in the crease. So you'll start to see this formula here, how it's more sheer, but it is buildable. But that makes it much more blendable and easy to work with. So I don't mind that. I think there's a lot of colors here that are different tones, which can really change up the purple look. But I would have liked just a little bit more variety and depth with this particular palette. But it makes sense because when you look at his work, he doesn't do complex eye looks. It's kind of a one and done style look. He uses more shadows than one, I'm sure. But his looks are really blended out and that kind of style. So it's very soft glam. That's the word I was looking for. His looks are soft glam. So I see where the thought process was behind this for soft glam looks. But if you're somebody who loves like a super bright inner corner, super dark outer corner, individual placements of each color, this is not going to be the style of eyeshadow for you. And then so I wanted to play with this shade, which I think is the Creamy Matte formula. And it does remind me a lot of the Natasha Denona because it's not messy, but it's a little bit softer, a little bit more powdery than the Natasha Denona, which I think makes it easier to work with than the Natasha Denona. But like the Natasha Denona, it doesn't build up super crazy in depth unless I were to use like an angled brush to use it for eyeliner. So for me with this formula, I'm more tempted to use it for eyeliner than I am in the actual look because I'm not getting as much vibrancy as I want from it. But for eyeliner, I would enjoy it. But I just decided to end up going into this true creamy matte shade because it would just be quicker to blend up, to build up the depth. You see, that's very pretty and a very easy blend. I'm gonna build up this shade here. And then underneath, this is such a cool shade. I really like that they added it here. It's very gray. It looks more gray on application, but it does such cool things for this palette. It really, if you mix these two together for a simple glam look, it would be so stunning. I would love to do more of a hung Vanngo style eye, but I want to use as much shades as possible from this palette, so that's why I'm kind of barfing up a bunch of colors for this look. Normally wouldn't do that. Using, again, this shade, and I'm using this just to brighten up the eyelid. Again, this is more matte, but there are some glimmer particles in there. It's a little powdery, so use patting instead of sweeping motions. But that was good just to brighten up the eyelid. And there's a couple different metallic, kind of iridescent shades you could use in this palette. Like there's this one, which has a deeper base, and then this one is more iridescent with like a bluey pinky shift. I ended up using this one, and I just put it all over the eyelid. Now this is a shade I think that's screaming for a wet brush to get the most out of it. I love to show what a shadow can do though at its core without needing anything to help it out. But isn't that really pretty? I feel like it did fade on this eye though. So let me build that back up. It just didn't adhere as well to this eyelid. For some reason, it's behaving better on the other eyelid. And I wonder if that has to do with, after I did this, I went back in and I just kind of softly blended everything. That did make it much more toned down by going in and messing around with my brush. I know it's not my most beautiful purple look ever, but I really wanted to test and see what some of these shades could do. I mean, the eyeshadow look turned out beautiful. I will admit, I'm more partial to this style of formula in the neutral shades. I think for bolder colors, I like a little bit more that creamy pigmented formulation. But for Vanngo's style of looks that he does, if you look on his page, it does make sense why they are the way that they are. But that's just my personal preference. Let's move on to eyeliners because I have heard fabulous things, like fabulous about the eyeliners, and I haven't tried them yet. There are two different kinds. The first one is the Soft Velvet Creamy Kohl. I think this is more of an experiment for him because he only launched 3 shades and he said, you know, if people like it, then he'll add more. So these are $22 each. Now what a kohl liner is it's not meant to set. It's meant to be smudged and blended, and this is phenomenal if you love smoky eyes, if you want to add a base down to create some shape. Unfortunately, I won't be able to use this one today because it just doesn't go with the look, but they sent over the shade Taupe, which he said is phenomenal on like more fair complexions. So if you like a kohl liner, not meant to sit down, meant to have playtime to be smudged and blended. I like that he added this. I do think kohl liners are something that has become less trendy lately, but I can see for makeup artists and stuff, they probably use this all the time for smoky looks, especially like I love a kohl liner for blending out the lower lash line. But we are going to play with what has more colors in the range, the Precision Gel Eyeliner. And these are the ones that people are after because we wear our makeup to work. We have long days. This is $24. And I heard him say he thinks this is the blackest black on the market. He went on a mission to create the blackest black that's not going to pull gray on a deeper complexion, and this is what he came up with. So this is the shade along the lash line, and I've heard that the longevity on these are insane, so we're going to test that today as well. Part of the reason why I chose the purple palette for today is because I want to wear smoky black liner and see how black it really is. So I'm gonna work one eye at a time because that's what I like to do with a long wear gel liner, because I'm gonna smudge it a bit on the lower lash line. Again, a black kohl would have been good for this. Where are these made? Korea as well. Both of. So the long wear liner is made in Korea, and then the kohl liner is made in Italy. Okay. So I've started this just on the waterline. And I'm taking a pencil brush. I'm going to try and smudge some of this down here. You could even just put it a little bit lower, just a little bit. And with my smaller eyes, black in the waterline is not normally what I do. It takes a special occasion for a certain look. So you can still get a little smudgy with it. The kohl is meant to be that way. But let's see how long this lasts in the waterline. I'm gonna set it down there, and then we're gonna do this on the upper lash line as well. Very nice, easy glide on the upper lash line, but not too glidey. Taking a pencil brush, smudging it just a little bit. And then I'm taking a brush, a little less angled, it's more flat. And I'm not going for, I just poked myself in the eye. I'm not going for super smudgy, but I'm just softening the edges so it's less harsh. Then we'll also get a little wing going. I've just heard great things from you guys about the potential longevity of this, so I had to go all out. This whole look was planned around. We're testing these liners today. Okay, let's get the other eye done. All right, guys, this final look, oof, it's been a while since I've done a look like this. It's so good. Okay. Final thoughts on these. Of course, these are first, second, third impressions. I'm still very new to the line. There's lots of other colors I need to try. But a little rundown. The standout of Vanngo Beauty, if you ask me, are the bronzers. Wow, I love these bronzers. The blushes, not far behind. There's just a lot of blushes on the market, but this formula that he has for the bronzers and blushes, unreal. Absolutely unreal. Now the eyeshadows, it is a drier formula. I like that drier formula for the more neutral shades. I'm not sold for the colorful shades. You can absolutely get a beautiful eye look. That's not an issue at all. But it's definitely going to be for more soft, glam, simple kind of eyes, just because of the drier, more sheer nature of the colorful shade. The eyeliners, need to come back to you about the kohl liner, and I will be wearing this eyeliner in my lash line all day today, and I'll keep you updated in the comments, but so far not a bit of fade in the waterline here, so gonna keep a close eye out on that. But based on like first impressions as I have it on, it does seem to me that the rumors are true on this, that these eyeliners are crazy long wear. There was not a lot of time to blend them out or smudge them out, so you do have to work really quick with them, but I think the trade-off is going to be extremely long wear liner, so we'll see. Lip liner seems good. Lipstick seems really good. I like this formula for the bolder shades because I feel as though they're going to last longer. They're not an extremely hydrating lip, so make sure you still do apply your lip balm, but they're also not extremely drying either. I think they're a good happy middle. That's it on that. If you're interested in picking up anything from Vanngo, like I said, just launched at Sephora today, so I'll have that link down below for you guys. If you've tried anything from the line and you're watching this a little bit later, let me know your thoughts. How did everything look? I hope you guys have fun with this line. Congratulations to Vanngo, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys, have a good one.
It's delicious.